It was supposed to be a night of charm, humor, and celebration on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, a night where music, movies, and wit came together in the kind of sparkling conversation that late-night audiences adore. Jennifer Lopez, radiant, in a crimson designer gown that caught the light with every graceful movement, stepped onto the stage to thunderous applause. The audience, electrified by her presence, cheered and clapped as Stephen rose from his desk to greet her. The two exchanged warm pleasantries, and for the first few minutes, it was everything the producers had hoped for: laughter, playful banter, and effortless star power that seemed to light up the room. Jennifer spoke with her signature blend of confidence and warmth about her latest film, a powerful drama tackling issues of identity and resilience, and about her new album, a return to her musical roots that was already climbing the charts. The audience was captivated, hanging on her every word as she shared personal anecdotes, stories of late nights in the recording studio, and memories from set. Stephen, ever the clever host, kept the energy high with perfectly timed quips, drawing out her humor and showcasing the natural charisma that had made her a beloved figure for decades. But as the conversation progressed, Stephen shifted the tone ever so slightly. Known for weaving thoughtful, sometimes challenging questions into his interviews, he steered the discussion toward Jennifer's recent activism, her outspoken positions on issues ranging from women's rights to immigration reform. His tone was respectful but probing, inviting her to go deeper on why these causes mattered to her so profoundly. Jennifer responded passionately, speaking of the communities she came from, of the people she felt compelled to stand up for, of the responsibility that came with having a platform as large as hers. At first, the dialogue remained steady and engaging. Jennifer spoke eloquently of systemic injustice, of the struggles she'd seen firsthand, of the importance of using fame not for vanity but for advocacy. But Stephen, ever the incisive interviewer, gently pushed further, asking whether celebrity activism ever risked oversimplifying complex issues. He wondered aloud if impassioned statements could sometimes alienate the very people activists hoped to persuade. His words were measured, but they hung heavy in the air, the studio audience quieting as they sensed the conversation take a sharper turn. Jennifer's expression shifted, her smile fading as her eyes narrowed slightly in concentration. She listened, but the tension in her posture was unmistakable. Her voice, when she spoke, was steady but carried an edge, a resolve sharpened by years of pushing back against doubters. She argued that silence in the face of injustice was not an option, that the real danger lay in saying nothing, in playing it safe while lives were at stake. The applause that followed was polite but tentative, the audience sensing the growing intensity between guest and host. Stephen acknowledged her point but pressed on, suggesting that passion without strategy could sometimes create more heat than light. He spoke of the need for coalition building, for meeting people where they are, for converting energy into policy. Jennifer bristled. Her voice rose slightly as she described the exhaustion of fighting the same battles, of hearing calls for patience, while change moved at a glacial pace. She spoke of urgency, of the need to shake people from their comfort zones, of the cost of waiting. Their words began to overlap, the rhythm of easy banter replaced by something rawer, more charged. Jennifer's frustration was visible now, her gestures sharper, her tone more forceful as she pushed back against the suggestion that she should temper her voice for the sake of palatability. Stephen, calm but firm, tried to guide the conversation toward common ground, but the gap between them seemed to widen with every exchange. The studio, once filled with laughter, had grown hushed, the tension between host and guest palpable. Jennifer's passion spilled over, her words quick and fierce, as she spoke of injustice, of communities left behind, of the moral imperative to speak out no matter the cost. She challenged Stephen directly, questioning whether his platform did enough to confront these issues head-on, whether too often the hard truths were softened for the sake of entertainment. The audience shifted uncomfortably, caught between admiration and unease, sensing they were witnessing something unscripted, something real. The breaking point came in a flash. Jennifer, her voice tight with emotion, rose abruptly from her chair, the scrape of it loud in the stunned silence. She declared she wouldn't sit and have her convictions treated as topics for debate, wouldn't reduce the fight for justice to a segment on a talk show. The audience gasped. Stephen, surprised but steady, urged her to stay, to keep talking, to let the conversation continue. But Jennifer was resolute. Without another word, she turned and strode off the stage, the click of her heels echoing like a drumbeat of defiance. The cameras caught the moment as best they could before the producers hastily cut to commercial. The familiar theme music felt out of place, jarring against the tension that still lingered in the studio. When the show returned, Stephen addressed the audience directly, his voice thoughtful and regretful. He praised Jennifer's passion, acknowledged the importance of what she had said, and expressed his hope that viewers would reflect on the substance rather than the spectacle of what had transpired. Online, the incident exploded. Clips of Jennifer's storm-off spread across social media, igniting debate and drawing millions of views within hours. Some hailed her as a hero, unafraid to stand by her convictions and unwilling to let them be diluted for the sake of decorum. Others praised Stephen for trying to foster meaningful dialogue, for keeping his composure in the face of confrontation. Pundits, bloggers, and fans alike dissected every word, every glance, every gesture, trying to divine the deeper meaning behind the clash. In the days that followed, both Jennifer and Stephen spoke publicly about the moment. Jennifer, in an interview, said she regretted the abruptness of her exit but not the strength of her convictions. She reaffirmed her commitment to advocacy, to speaking truth even when uncomfortable. Stephen, in a later monologue, reflected on the exchange, praising Jennifer's dedication while expressing hope that moments like these could spark not just headlines but real conversations that led to action. Behind the scenes, those who had been in the studio that night spoke of the electricity in the air, of the reminder that live television could still surprise, still provoke, still make people think. And so, the night Jennifer Lopez stormed off The Late Show with Stephen Colbert became more than a viral moment. It became a symbol of the tension between conviction and conversation, of the challenge of balancing passion with dialogue, of the difficulty but also the necessity of trying to bridge divides in a world too often split apart by them.